Welcome to FMA Talk, the place of the never-ending intro video. I'm your host, Datu Tim. Here's my wonderful co-host.
BG Ties here. Welcome.
And there's the other guy, which we still don't know
Great.
whether he's an FMA Talk guy or FMA Discussion.
Or the part-time co-host.
Which is part-time co-host. There we go. And we already got Grandmaster Harry Green saying hello from Sacramento. Phenomenal. Love having that West Coast swagger here on the show. Now, listen, I'm going to start right off with my rant because it was something you said the other day, and I don't want to derail what we're here to talk about, which is all about Dean. But FMA Talk is the Dean show. So, you made a comment the other day, and it ties into my rant. And so you made something the extent of, and I will paraphrase, but I'll let you expand on the comment, is that if you do not contribute, you really have no right to critique.
Yeah, so it was something, in that regards. And basically what I meant by that was in regards to the situation, in that video I made upon my return, was really to some of the folks that were criticizing or upset with some of the things, but weren't really doing it in the fashion of addressing me, but more like talking in their groups. And so I mentioned that as if you're doing that, you're not really contributing or helping the overall community as opposed to your own little niche. And so that was kind of what I meant by that. So it took on a couple different themes when I spoke on that. One, the theme of, are you contributing to an overall community, or are you just contributing to your little niche? Therefore, who are you basically to critique folks that are really trying to do stuff overall for the community, propagating the art, interviewing luminaries and bringing more exposure to all the above? Are you doing that, or you're in a little niche just talking about people? Now, mind you, if you're in a group that's not toxic and you're just, you're talking about, obviously that's fine. That goes without saying. I'm really talking about the folks, which some of them I know of, that have really in their groups have, they've talked about FMA Discussion and this and that. And it's like, well, first of all, did any of you guys come to me directly to voice your concerns or complaints? So that it was kind of all in the nutshell as far as what I mentioned there.
Yeah. So, I mean, and that's actually my rant today. So, if you guys don't realize this, I'm under a lot of scrutiny at times. I don't know if you've ever heard that.
I've never, ever heard that. No.
I'm a little on the controversial side, and I've got people making comments. And the way I look at it is the same thing. Like, if you haven't done this, what gives you the right to comment on this in that negative aspect with the venom, the toxicity? And, here's the other thing. Doing something once doesn't mean anything. If I, okay, well, who's, how are you? So to me, the big thing is contributing to the future, contributing to the community. So, Dean, you do a podcast. You do a regular podcast. How many episodes are you up to?
Well, tomorrow night will be 437.
Okay, 437 episodes.
Amazing.
Okay. So, that's huge. Okay. So, now, if we, so if someone says, "Oh, I do podcasts," and they've done like 3 or 5, it's a far cry from doing all that stuff. We talked about people. I made a comment. Someone asked about who's teaching seminars in modern Art East. Who's the oldest guy? And I said, well, Bruce Jutnick was, but when he teaches, is kind of a hybrid between Serrata and modern. And I made the comment. I go, really, if you're looking at it, who's really doing modern East proper seminars? And I don't want to say proper, as incorrect, but I mean, like, modern East is your core theme versus like a hybrid program, which there's nothing wrong with that because it's still all part of modern East, but there's definitely a difference between a modern Art East core versus a modern and hybrid of Serrata Eskrima, because there's a lot of things in Serrata that Remy just didn't do. But that being said, I made the comment, and then someone else chimed in. Well, I do seminars. I go, yeah, you do one a year. What? I mean, I let it go. I let it slide and whatever. I go, if you're doing seminars, you need to be doing a sizable. It's all about scale. If you're writing books and you're being picked up by publishing companies, that's great. But PG Time made the comment the one time is like, self-producing books is the same thing as being a blogger. And what? Okay, so we can, all three of us can go into the same scrutiny. What are you guys doing? You're just self-producing your own videos. You're right, we are, but it's reaching people. When I do my seminars, when I have my Modern East University, when we produce Black Belt, I mean, right now, you know how I'm passionate about this. Well, I promoted a bunch of people. Yeah, I know you promoted a bunch of people, but you didn't do a damn thing about producing a bunch of people. Because, at the end of the day, here we go, at the risk of sounding sacrilegious, Remy didn't produce as many black belts as his students did. He produced, some cases, the students produced just as much, if not more, than Remy did. I mean, as a collective, not as individual. Obviously, he produced more, but I mean, we had to do the work. Remy taught me, and I had to teach my students. So if we had this huge Modern East following, he didn't teach every person. He taught he taught his instructors, and the instructors taught their students. So, there's a whole piece, in there. So, but that's my rant. If you're gonna make comments, make sure that it's not the pot calling the kettle black. Make sure that you can actually contribute. Oh, I would do it, but I just don't want to. Well, then, but you're not. So really, do you really have an opportunity to say things? I could teach a seminar, but you're not. There's a person right now that there's a group of us that sit down and chat once in a while on the internet, and one person is, and part of it becomes a little bitch session. I'll be the first to admit it was more of a venting thing amongst friends. And unfortunately, one person keeps coming up, and this person is a friend of mine. And I let things go. I try to the path of least resistance, but I look at what's going on, and for no reasons, a couple of guys are putting all this toxicity towards this person, and I'm like, yeah, this guy's putting on and hosting events. What are you doing? I mean, I was like, the one time they go, Tim, you went to the event. How was the Suckfest? I go, hey, it gave me a great opportunity to see people, good martial artists, and share information, learn some things, and be able to spread the art. And because someone hosted that, it gave me those opportunities. Mm-hmm. What have you done? All you've done is armchair quarterback and bitch about it, and as of late, when it comes down to it, and this is not a Modern East person when I'm saying this too. It's actually someone we all know, or a couple of people we all know. And, at the end of the day, it's like some of the things that you're doing were based on other people giving you opportunities. And that's what this guy's doing for others. You might not like his martial arts. You might not like his personality, but you can't just pile on the guy and ignore the fact of the contributions of what the person's doing. All right. So let me get this caught up here. So D-Man says hello from Ottawa. I don't know who this person is. That may have been
I wonder why he does that sometimes. That does it sometimes when I do FMA discussion, like for whatever reason.
I guess it depends on what. Yeah, who knows? Bill Anderson's greeting from the Island of Thieves. I'm assuming someone from the Philippines, but I could be wrong. Kurt says hello from Homer, Alaska. Another person, don't know whom that is. Maybe that's the same. Gabe mentioned me earlier, or messaged me.
Oh,
earlier.
Gabe.
Yeah. So here's Gabe Farino.
Just talked to him today, actually.
Yeah, and then he reached out to me. He was looking for a link and stuff. So, Ty's clone. Okay, yeah. Yeah, we don't know where Ty is. We just got this guy. Good evening, gentlemen. No clues who it is. Oh, here we go. Jeff Owens. How you doing, sir?
Hey, Jeff.
And then And then I am going to make a balloon sword for Dean.
Nice.
So for his sword rack, there's only been one.
Yes, and what it is I have this. Unfortunately, and I just one of those things on the list I haven't got to yet. The more I put on there, the weight. So it's not that I don't have enough swords to put on there. It was starting to fall off. So
And then and then Rich Jacobson comes up. So
yeah.
Ty, do you got anything before we start up?
No, well, actually, about contributing and stuff. I think so. As you guys know, well, you did as well. We both went to places that were not just FMA events this weekend, and contributed there from our FMA point of view. And I thought I would just make the point that I think you got to get out there and do that outside your comfort zone, outside your own community. There's no other way to get the word out there and to spread the love, if you will.
Listen, teaching the art to our people is important. Teaching to whatever your community is, the Modernese community, the Serrata community, fill in the blank. I mean, you need to mentor your martial family and help bring them to the next level. But we also have to be represented publicly out there. If do you want the art to survive or thrive? There's the question. And we talk about this a lot, and I don't think, and I make comments, and Dean, you and I have talked about arts going extinct, and maybe the comment should have been survival and thriving are two different things. Being on a respirator, you're still alive physically. I mean, but if you're in a coma and there's no brain activity, what good is that doing? So I think we have to look at a bigger picture. And, the nice thing here is all three of us have taught at we taught at non-FMA events. And we're ambassadors for the Filipino martial art community, getting more exposure. And some of these guys found modern Arnis schools or found other schools in people unrelated, other Filipino systems that had nothing to do with the event, had nothing to do with any of us. But it sparked people to look at things and go, I really like this. I wonder if there's someone close by that teaches this family of martial arts. A lot of people don't understand about Remy. He inspired a lot of people. Pikiti got a lot of people. Dulce Parras got a lot of people. Combatan got a lot of people. Serrata got a lot of people because Remy would come into a town, get everyone excited, and then the only school in the town was X, Y, or Z, and it wasn't modern. He helped a lot of people get students, and we do the same thing because you sit there. We do a seminar, people get excited. Man, Dean, I'd like to train with you. Oh shit, you're 7 hours away. I can't do that. I wonder if there's anybody local.
Yeah.
I constantly get people. Is there anyone in this area? Is there anyone in that area? Well, let me find out. Yeah, I know somebody. So we all help everyone one way or another. So let's get caught up here. So I think we had this one, Richard Jacobson, Mike Sosa. We had Jeff Owens all as well. Good evening, Tim Dobson from Canada. There we go, selling after classes. Sachi, how you doing, sir? And then we've got another person out here.
Yeah, Nick Merchant. He's my Piper student, and he just went to the gathering out in Los Angeles. He's trying to become a dog brother. I think he might be working to dog candidate. Don't quote me on that, but at any rate. So during one of his fights, he wanted to go in a direction, and unfortunately his ankle didn't cooperate and broke it in the hospital, and just is coming back today from California. So
okay. Oh look, PG Ty, aka Shaggy from Scooby Doo. Okay. All right. And listen, neither one of us are Daphne or Velma, just for the record, in case someone was trying to say it was a nasty judo throw, I was told. Listen, and this came up personally after last week's. We did sparring last week, right? Or when we did the sparring episode with Craig,
right?
Okay, here we go. What's this one here? Hi, Tim, Ty, and Dean. Always happy to have good folks exposure to their programs, just like Tim helped me at the very start. Folks get fair shot. What's who?
Without
that?
seeing the name, I'm gonna
Can't see
guess
who that is.
Jack. I'm gonna guess Jack.
Okay, could be. So,
Yes, I was right.
okay, there you go. It was Jack. All right, cool. So, on the last episode, we talked about, I think it was the last episode, we talked about sparring, and that's what today's episode's about. So I'll get right to it. So on the last episode, we were talking about sparring and that PG Craig was a dog brother. My comment that I made, which I don't think people heard me properly, was that PG Craig was the only modern ace black belt that we knew of that was a full dog brother. Badger Jones was a student of Peter Kautz, but never received the black belt.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not he just never took it to that level, So there have been a couple other people with a modern ace backgrounds who've done dog brother fighting, but to my knowledge, no black belts in modern ace became dog brothers prior to this time, and PG Craig is the first and the only, to my knowledge. Now, as always, if we don't have all the information, if that statement isn't correct, please send us the information so we can get on point with that, because there's a lot of holes in our history, because our history is more folklore based, which is telling people versus writing things down, and we want to get things right.
And so, personally, I'd actually love to be wrong that there's actually others we didn't know about. That'd be a great thing to hear.
If there was like 10 or 15 modern ace black belts that were dog brothers, it'd be like, damn. And and once again, the cool thing was Craig's been doing it for years. And initially they actually thought he was a dog brother. They thought he was full dog. And I was talking to Renee. I'm like, if you want to make these guys dog, don't let it get in the way of me. Just make sure that they're not DBMA, which is the martial system, versus the brotherhood and sisterhood that their family, their ohana that they have for their fighting clan. So, all right, that's all I got before we start. Are we good? Are all three of us ready to go?
Sure.
Okay, so here we go. At the moment, 27 people live watching us for this most interesting unplugged episode of FMA Talk. The truth. Why Dean Franco has disappeared, turned his back on the whole FMA community, told everyone to flip them all off, and now he's back because he's lonely and misses everybody. But seriously, Dean, and I know a lot of this stuff, but our viewers would like to hear some things. So I don't know where to begin. Ty, where do you think we should begin on this one?
Well, first, I want to ask, was it witness protection?
Could have been. Well, yeah, but we can see
his
face.
See, the fact I have a vowel at the end of my name, I needed to change it to a consonant.
Right.
Yes.
So, from a vowel to a consonant.
Yes.
There we go.
And the fact that I do have some relatives that used to, do some special activities.
So how many cousins do you have named Nuncio? That's the real question.
Too much.
Okay. All right. So, Dean, you took off for a little while. It's public knowledge, but I want to get into it. And there might be things that I or Ty say in different words to say how maybe there's some support, solidarity, or maybe telling you that you're being a baby. Who knows? We don't know what's going to happen on this show because we just don't know. So, Dean, what led into taking a little hiatus?
Well, I mean, what folks think, and it's understandable why they would receive this, due to that there was a very recent event. I shouldn't say recent. God, it's been over a month now. On the podcast before I left, Mark Wiley's, and I asked some questions and he answered, and some of the folks in the community just weren't really happy with some of his answers. And I guess they weren't happy with me either. And perhaps those are questions I shouldn't have asked, or my contribution to supplement his answer. And so, but while that was kind of quote unquote what broke the camel's back, what people don't understand, for the last 30 or 6 so months, the first 6 months of the show was pretty boring. I'm just growing an audience. I wasn't really getting in the middle of, politics or what have you. People didn't even know who the hell I was at that point. So I quote the last 36 months where I was dealing with a lot. I just never made a point to tell anybody because I never wanted to bring the drama into FMA discussion. That is one of the reasons when I created a group, I wanted a group that didn't deal with drama, that didn't deal with people being disrespectful to one another, where people can come in there regardless, share their content, express their opinion without being attacked or ridiculed. So I didn't want to add drama in that. So basically, I was been eating this stuff for 3 years. I mean, there was stuff with Kabbalists, stuff with modernists, stuff with hey, what he said was wrong on the show. I mean, I'm not saying this was every day, but I'm saying over the course of 36 months, it was starting to build and build. And finally, that show, what came out of it, it just triggered me to just basically just pull the plug. But, so that's kind of what led to me doing that. However, though, it was the best thing I have ever done and could have done. And there's an argument I should have done it sooner, because it really gave me time to really reflect and assess what I've been doing, who I've been doing it for. Do I want to keep doing it? Do I want to keep going with the current format, the frequency, etc.? And also, more importantly, people don't think, like during that time, people were thinking like I was sitting in a corner, blaming people or looking for fault. Hardly. Actually, the great thing about this time off was I was actually looking at myself in that, is there things I could have done better? Did I, is there areas I shouldn't have gone into during some of the episodes? If I do come back, how can I be better at this and not offend people in that? And so really it was a lot of self-reflection on like what I could do better in that. And, when I make the comment, like in some episodes, when I say like, hey, I don't claim to know, be the best at this or know everything. But that, that was kind of a very generic statement. And really what I meant by that was, where'd he go?
Sometimes it happens, or he takes a break.
Okay.
No
All right.
worries.
So should I just keep going?
Yeah.
Okay. So what that all fully entailed was that I've never had a group, led a group before that big, never dealt with moderators. So there are a lot of factors when I meant by that statement, like, hey, this is something I never did before, kind of trial by error, learning as I went along. But there were a lot of pieces in there learning as I went along, as things got bigger, and dealing with, like I said, dealing and interacting with moderators. Never had experience in that. Never had experience running a group 10,000 plus. Never had experience of like, in the beginning, it was people that I was interviewing were people I kind of knew just for the sake of getting my feet wet and just kind of getting acclimated in this. But as the show grew, there were times I was interviewing people that not only did I not know or never heard of, I had no idea what they were doing, in that. So but I know I kind of digressed there a bit, but really back to why I left. Things came to a headway, and I just was really bothered by what was happening behind the scenes in KI with regards to me. And there's more to that too as we get into, going to the source and all that. But I certainly don't want to jump ahead. So.
Okay. Well, I mean, so would it be fair to say that, part of it was tired, part of it was perspective, but I think your main point there was that, hey, you weren't just sitting around moping or getting angry at people. You were actually taking this as an opportunity.
No, absolutely not. No, matter of fact. And here's the thing too, not that I wanted this to happen, but the timing actually was was spot on. And I say that because coming up in September, I knew I was going to Hawaii to help Bert. And after Hawaii, I knew I was going to Canada to do the thing with Kevin Go. So there was so I knew for like half of September, I wasn't going to be really around and available. So it kind of went hand in hand. I'm like, when I pulled the plug, I'm like, this is as good as time as any. You're not going to be around September. Take this time off. And when you get back, you can reevaluate pending your time off and how you feel. So it really worked out really, really well. Definitely was not moping. But again, a lot of introspection on myself and really, looking at myself like, am I to blame for some of this? Am I the cause of it? What can I do better to assure that this doesn't happen again? I wasn't sitting around and looking at people and blaming people. Hardly. It was just really the opposite.
Okay, so first of all, I just don't walk away and leave the camera on. So when I leave, one of several things, either I'm using a washroom break, I might be getting food because I refuse to eat in front of the camera, although by all means, I plan on having water. Well, here we go. I thought Dean was a complete hostess, cupcakes, ding dongs, and Twinkie eat-a-thon. Okay, all right, whatever.
I do like a good cupcake, though.
Yeah, there you go. I like ho-hos. But, okay. So first of all, people got offended because you asked a question. That's what you're telling me.
The question, and in fairness, because I want to be really fair here, because Mark Wiley, I feel, doesn't deserve. Well, first of all, Mark Wiley shouldn't be blamed for anything. I mean, God, he gave an answer in his opinion, for God's sakes. I mean, so that's even the wrong
these
way
are the
of
things I
putting
want to get around. So first of all, let's make it easier here for our viewers, because I didn't watch the show. Okay.
Well, now if you were to watch a show, it wouldn't even make sense
question?
now, because that part that was contentious, for the sake of working things out with the other half over there, I agree just to remove it, just for sake of.
So you deleted that portion.
Correct. And there was.
So I can't even. Okay. So this is, what kind of show this is. What was the question? So, I mean, because I can't comment one way or another.
Yeah. So basically the question, well, I mean, and again, I want to preface this that, while I was on that break, these are questions that I got, here's why I have to hold myself accountable, knowing that I'm,
before you say that, let me ask you this, because you're putting a lot of onus on yourself, and I want to ask you this question, and that'll let me know whether you really should. Did you ask this question with malice?
Oh, no, of course not. No.
So you weren't trying to cause trouble. You just asked the question.
No, absolutely not with intent. No.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I really don't.
I'm saying this now because of the aftermath and what happened as a result of this. So even though I didn't have malintentions, however, though, based on the questions, I can kind of, again, trying to look at the whole picture and trying to be empathetic to the other side and why they feel that way. And not saying I totally agree with them, but I'm trying to really look at the whole picture. And with that time off, one of the things I looked at was, as a whole, not just specific to that episode, but as a whole, maybe try to just be a little more careful in some of the questions I asked that could trigger something. And I think when I look back at that episode, there's a couple questions there maybe I should have just stayed away from. But again, I don't want, my worst fear is that it's all blame on Mark Wiley, because that bothers me. I mean, what Mark Wiley has done for the community, I mean, people should not be, saying anything. I mean, I'm being nice when I say that.
Well, listen, and at the same token, okay, so as someone who's done a lot for the community, I don't get a pass because of what I've done in the past. It doesn't matter. I mean, at the end of the day, making a mistake is one thing, doing something intentionally is another. I don't get out of jail card. And people usually what happened. Here's what I see is I was having a discussion of a whole bunch of people, and they made some comments, and they go, well, so and so, they're trash talk this one guy. Then we talk about another person, and the person's about the same skill level, and I'm like, oh yeah, but no, he's a real nice person, done a bunch of things, helped people out. I'm like, yeah, but we're talking about skill and ability to teach. We're not talking about what they've done to help people out. There's two different things, So personally, I mean, and of course, I'm still go back to it. What was the damn question?
Okay, so basically, I can't exact verbatim. However, so in general sense, basically, what I asked Mark Wiley was, do you think there's anybody around today that is doing what Illustrissimo was really about in there, in that verbiage and all that? And Mark, GM Mark, said he didn't think so. So, and then I said, that's sad, not sad. That's a sad state of affairs. More or less, that's sad. I said that, wow, that's really sad that he felt that way. However, I didn't articulate that, and I probably should have. But at any rate, so
first of all, that's Mark's opinion, and it could be construed.
100%.
It could be asked. I mean, at the end of the day, if someone has a problem with what he said, it should have been, well, what do you mean by that?
Oh, here's a key point I just remembered, and this is very key, and this is what got partially lost in translation. When I asked that question, I said living, and I meant it, and I made a point to say that because obviously some of the folks that have passed, like GM Tony Dago, Ricketts, and all them, so those weren't included in the question because when I asked, current, current folks
so ask the question about modern East to us right now.
So, guys, is there anybody living today that emulates everything about GM presses?
No.
Okay.
Because there was only one Remy Praces. Ty, thoughts?
No, I was about to say, yeah, absolutely not.
So
yeah.
Why would you say that? So why would you say that, Ty?
There was only one Remy, and he was. If you knew him, how you gonna be that guy?
Okay, but and what made him
what
he
he's
has
been through? What he's been through, the training he had, and what he had done.
His life experience.
Exactly.
No one else had his life experiences, just like no one else had Dean's life experiences, Ty's life experiences. We are all unique little snowflakes out there.
There you go.
Now,
But anyway,
if you want to sit there and say who's the closest, if you were to ask, say, like, who do you feel is the closest that?
Yeah, I mean, no words.
Remy's?
I could have worded like that, and that probably would have gone over better. Fair enough. But so when Mark answered, I think my counter question or counter comment, I'm trying to remember, was I brought up a few folks with very specific categories. And one of them was in the concepts of univocata and praction. I mentioned David Gould. But again, not looks like or moves like him. I was really dialing in onto some of the concepts. And that I made that pretty clear. That course raised some eyebrows.
What concepts would you also allow for evolution?
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
But here's the thing: at the end of the day, regardless if I shouldn't have asked him, or I should have worded it a different way, perhaps, or I'm not going to speak from GM Mark. However, though, at the end of the day, though, the issue is, or one of the issues is that it really was an opinion-based question. So folks were upset because of the answer, or because maybe they weren't included. And I made it again. The key thing here was I was very specific in people who are living today, not the past, because so I don't know if some folks maybe didn't hear that, or they just attached themselves to the question, but any rate, I mean, the nice thing is that things are better now. Some other things did get involved in it that should have not gotten involved with that. That kind of got, oh, let's attach this now. You know what I mean? And but the overall big thing that came out of that, which I don't want to jump ahead, is the whole point of going to the source and all that, and that's what was really frustrating to me, how it was handled by some.
So let me make a comment about our show that was made to me. But before I do that, let's this is a very important one here. Very, very important. Ty, when the hell did it become Casual Monday?
Whenever I feel like
Renee, I'm paraphrasing. I speak Canadian, and that's really what he meant to say.
I actually just totally forgot.
You're very upset by your attire.
I
didn't want to offend anybody. Didn't want to offend anybody.
And Miguel Ruby says hello from Rancho Cordova, right in Sacramento. And then Sachi, sir, how we doing? If you remember correctly, it wasn't about you can emulate because no one can, but more about who has.
It was a dual question, Sachi. That was part of it. The second part was, it wasn't really worded like that. Let me just reread this so I'm not making an erroneous conclusion here. If I remember, it wasn't about you can emulate because no one. Maybe that got in there. I don't recall that, to be honest, though. I think I asked him pretty much like, is there any around today? I think.
Personally, I would have never deleted a section.
But
but you did, and because you did, now you can't go back and figure out.
Yeah, but here's the thing, though. I know, and believe me, when the time of the month off, I wrestled with that. Should I have done that? And the thing is, when this stuff started kind of boiling over, being an empathetic person, I kind of felt bad. And as opposed to just, in other words, to me, the bigger issue, in other words, to me, there's bigger issues here, in my opinion, than the questions that were asked and then me taking that section out. And the bigger issues are how to handle stuff, and so to me, there were bigger issues that came out of it. Yes, there's an argument, should I have left it? Should I have removed it? That is a legitimate argument. I did talk to Mark Wiley before I did it. I don't know. Stuff was boiling over. In all fairness, I wasn't in the right exact rational mind either. So coulda, woulda, shoulda. There's an argument either way.
At the end of the day, my mindset, okay, so I'll talk about something I had to do. It was just getting rid of a last name. Well, so first of all, you either delete all of it or none of it. If it was that controversial,
that almost happened as well.
You take it down.
Yeah.
Personally, though, I think people are just got their panties twisted. And now here's one, and I'll say it by name. And if he gets upset, I'm sorry. Not the intent, just making a point. Phil Elmore put a video out, and he deleted it shortly after he put it out. He goes, everything comes down to this and this. That was his all of the things come down to two angles of attack. And I do a video, and I talked about how it was a great opportunity to talk more about things. And then he goes his tirade on me personally. He says this, that, and the other thing, and then flags it on YouTube. So I put I edited out his last name, the audio file, because I wasn't going to take the video down, but obviously he got YouTube involved. Personally, I was like, wait a minute, you opened up this conversation about everything in FMA is either forehand, or all the angles were like forehand and backhand or whatever it was. I do a post on it, a video on it, and I thought it would have been a really good thing. So, but and then he got twisted. And like I said, I wasn't going to take the whole thing down, but he got YouTube involved. But personally, my thought is you ask questions. If people don't like it, tough. And if it gets to the point where it's more of a headache for you than anything else, then say, all right, I'll tell you what, I'll delete it. And if you guys don't want any coverage, okay, so besides that, okay, so, and here's the other thing, and someone already said this, and I was going to chime in on this. It's someone's opinion. You damn moron. So all you ass clowns that are bitching about this, and I know who a few of you are, and you're going to threaten me and all this other stuff. But at the end of the day, after all the things about showing up on my doorstep, no one has yet. And you can find me. I'm pretty easy. Now, it could be the fact that I have a 175-pound Rottweiler followed by a 90-pound pit. And the pit's actually more intense. But that's another story. But at the end of the day, it's your own. This is about an opinion. Now,
yes.
How was the quality of the rest of the episode?
Okay, so excellent. Matter of fact, well, here, let me just bear with me here.
And I'm going to, while you look that up, let me go. So Renee says, F that, ask the question however you want. Sounds like they were just looking for a reason to stir the pot. Mm-hmm. And Sam says, I always enjoy new episodes of FMA Discussion. What the hell's wrong with FMA Talk?
Okay.
It's on now, Dean.
So here we go.
Okay, free speech is a beautiful thing. I just want to get caught up on these. And then we got, hello, gentlemen. This is Dan Medina listening from his car on the way home. And then Renee, absolutely. Okay, go ahead, Mr. Franco.
Okay, so it was episode 435. 34 likes, 1,000 views. So it went really well.
Well, that's stats. I mean, because that doesn't mean that could be they're looking for the train wreck. But how was the rest of the conversation?
It's GM Mark Wiley, Tim. He's going to get views.
No, but I mean, do you think there was good topics?
Absolutely. Matter of fact, that's what's kind of sad, because if you watch the whole show how he was talking on Kambalis and his books and all that, it was really, really good.
Okay, so there was good. So that was the whole thing.
Oh, no. Matter of fact, that was the smallest. That was, matter of fact, what I removed. You know how much minutes I removed? Basically, the dialogue I'm talking about that I removed was on or around about 2 to 3 minutes that I removed out of a close to. I just had it here. This was definitely one of the longer episodes. The actual episode was. I'm just waiting for this. Okay, here we go. Was 2 hours and 55 minutes. So probably my longest episode. So a fraction
3-hour show, and they complained about 3 minutes.
Well, not everybody. Those who were. No. Yeah.
So I mean, listen. It's like a movie. Man, that was great, but that one scene. Oh my God! I mean, who cares? Who cares? Ty, what are your thoughts here?
Actually, I was just about to jump in. So, Dean, we were talked about needing a break, about being tired, about maybe you should have done it earlier. I think this probably kind of points to that, because I think this is that better than anybody probably. When you're out there, people are going to find a way to be upset no matter what you do. The best of intentions, and it doesn't even matter. They're going to find out. People are professional at that.
Yeah,
but we all know, and people forget this all the time, particularly those people who don't do as much stuff as you. They'll put one or two things out there, and then they'll get all upset because somebody says something back to them. It's like, but what they forget is, hey, you're in the world, out in the open going, hey, I got a thought. Of course people are going to respond. And you know this, but when you get worn down after hundreds and hundreds of episodes.
And that's what it really was. Like, in other words, like if this happened a year ago, we'd probably be having a different conversation today. You know what I mean? It was definitely the longevity and the grind, and and that I blame myself. I mean, I'm the one that chose to do as many as I did. Nobody else. But much to your point, one of the things talking to Apollo that I have to work better on is like I have to accept that, regardless of my good intentions and the good I try to do, there are going to be people who are just going to try to just sabotage you, or it doesn't matter what you do, for whatever various reasons they choose to do it. And Burton said it the best. Burton was telling me, they go after the person with the ball, and right now you're carrying the ball.
Yep. I like Burton.
Remy would always say, the better you do, the louder the dogs will bark. So I consider it an honor that people complain so much about me. So,
I guess that's a way of looking at it. I mean, it could be complimentary.
Really, who the hell? Here's the other thing. Who the hell is doing this. Okay, so we have our show, which is nowhere near the same thing as yours. We're not trying to be you. We're being us. You know, this is like Porsche and Ferrari. It's not, you know, say that we're not trying to be the next thing. We're two different animals. You notice how I put us all in sports cars, by the way. But high-end ones. I mean, we could have said we're like Pintos and Priuses, but I mean that would no one would understand what a Pinto is. But the thing here is at the end of the day, you've done okay, and this is what I say, you don't get a pass, but you look at all the content and what you got a little comment they didn't like. You got a 3-hour show and 5 minutes of it they're upset, and you're telling me that that 5 minutes ruined the entire show?
No, didn't ruin it. No. Definitely did
no.
not
But that's what these guys are.
Well,
Okay, I'm not talking about you, Dean.
Yeah.
I'm not talking to you,
Yeah.
Dean. We got your back on this one. You know, I'm talking about all these people. I'm trying to be nice here. No, I'm not. These ass clowns that don't understand that you. I don't care if you say something wrong. I don't care because you didn't say it with intent. So, I was talking to our friend Terrell Richardson. First time he went over to the Philippines, a woman over there that's part of Riddell's group called him the N-word, not understanding the context of it. So he educated her. He didn't get upset. He goes, whoa. You can't say that, because if someone else hears that, they might not, go. I was teaching in Denmark. This child, maybe 10, 11 years old, comes, I'm walking by. He knows I speaking, he's American. He goes, oh, F. And then after he got done, he broke down crying when his mom told him what was going on. And I'm like, I wasn't offended. It was like the kid made a mistake. And you know what? Every now and then, we put our foot in our mouth, if that was even the case. And I don't even think it is. You asked an opinion. If someone sat there and said, hey, Tim, what do you think? I go, listen, if you want to sit there and say who's doing Remy's concepts and physically doing the closest thing is, well, where everyone's going to say themselves. I'm going to say me, but I'm going to give you facts why. Who's Remy's top guy? Well, hey, in my opinion, but then again, I wouldn't fault anyone for saying that they are, because if you're going for a job interview, do you tell them you're the third best qualified person for the job? You tell them why you're the best person for the job. So, like this show, and I go, if someone says, well, who do you think is the best guy in modern? He says, well, it's going to be me. That's what I'm going to say. But the thing is, I'm going to back it up with some facts, not the facts, some facts, and then you make your own decisions. Like, well, hey, I've taught in 28 states. I've taught in 18 countries. I've produced more black belts for Remy while he was alive than anyone else did. I black belts at the same levels of the Motts were before they got promoted to Master Tappy Tappy. I blah, 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 blah. I can go down the route. And then you can decide whether that information is relevant. But I mean, it's just words. So I'm gonna just caught up here, and then Mr. Ty is gonna take over. So let me see here. So Mr. Chris Chu says Dean's back.
There you go. Chris. Hey, say hi to Dad for me.
There we go. And then Dan says hello from Pennsylvania.
And Dan the man.
Kurt. What if I bring cookies? Well, what kind of cookies? It all depends on the kind of cookies. And say, hey, Dean has done so much to promote and bring things. I can relate to that. I can relate to that 100%. Oh, here we go. Pinto and Range Rover. Okay.
There
we go. And then I like episodes with Mark Wiley.
Yeah.
Yes.
Of course. Okay. Renee likes episode number. What was that again? What are the 3 episodes?
He likes 355, 404, and 350 and 436.
436. And for the record, I have to look right now.
436, 404, 355.
Okay, just for the record, 436.
Oh, by the way, guys.
Renee, I gotta say, it's oh geez. He's with us in spirit. We're not sending him an invite.
But I found a lot
all
here.
sorts of bad types of things.
Yeah.
Let me see here. I always like and then Dean's situation kind of reminds me of a person in a drag clown face makeup skit on being offended. Okay, all right. Okay, there we go. So, Ty.
So you know what? I'm going to jump in that. I'm going to say this is how I used to introduce myself as far as people doing things. I was the second best in our school in badminton, ping pong, and thumps, if you ever played thumps. So sometimes you do introduce yourself as that. But there's nothing depending on that. There's, just being honest and facts. And plus, I wanted to give people their props. But that's it, right? Huh?
What is that?
I want to know what thumps is now.
Thumps, where you you flick people's fists, right? And whoever taps out first loses. So you trade back and forth.
Oh wow!
I mean, like you go like this. Boom. Ow! There's my face. Oh, I hit my metal ring. That's why it hurt. I'm so strong. I just hurt myself.
I turned one person's finger all white from the whole finger down for a few minutes.
That's a new one.
Okay. What state? Wait, Ty. What state was this in?
This is in Malaysia.
Okay. All right. Okay. So what? Okay.
So it's all totally fine.
Okay. Well, there we go. It's
all.
But
anyway, yeah. People's perspective. I wanted to keep going on the idea that somebody touched it in one of the comments too, right? When people get offended, they do that to themselves based on how they're reacting to whatever stimuli are out there, and it's their choice whether they realize it or not. They need to take responsibility.
There's also there's also another aspect to this, and some of these people were people that I knew and I talked to. So I can tell you honestly, if these were people that I've never had any dialogue with, no relationship with whatsoever, I would have been probably like, go pound sand. I don't even know if you ever watched a show before this one, but these were people that, and still do have a relationship with all that. So it was a little more personal.
Yeah.
And I just felt like, hey, if this will smooth things over, if this will kind of bring peace by me removing this section, so be it. But again, though, if it was folks I didn't know that were just running, I wouldn't have taken the same protocol. So
okay, I get it. Yeah, it's
so
different.
You're talking to people that you knew who you were. They know who you are, and have had no problems with you in the past.
Not that I'm aware of.
Didn't give you the benefit of the doubt and just say that maybe it was just came out the wrong way or they heard it the wrong way. And
that was discussed afterwards, and there was definitely some headway made on that. But the initial response was a lot of just due to their love and loyalty to KI and instructors. So it struck a chord with some of them. So again, here's the thing. Because I knew some of these people, I was really trying to look at the whole picture and be empathetic to their feelings and what was bothering them, as opposed to having this rigid attitude if I didn't know them. So, and I just, I said, look, if this is going to make...
Well, I guess what I was trying to say is it goes both ways, right? So for you trying to say, hey, what could I do better? And is thinking about them. I think it needs to go both directions. So if they know you, right, they should try to figure out, hey, did he mean what was going on there? Let's have the discussion and make sure. I really do think it needs to go both ways, right? So when there's no bad intent, somebody getting upset is on them. If there's some bad intent, then there's some more discussion you can have. But with you bringing up the fact that there's friends and acquaintances that you value opinions and skills and things like that, they should be doing the same thing with you.
Yeah, I mean, and this is where it leads into, to me, and again, to reiterate, the greater issues that came out of this. And one is just like how to handle things of this nature or similar nature, where instead of going, to a bunch of other people, like just not going to the source. And to me, that's what really bothered me out of this whole thing. And that's kind of why when I made my return and I did that podcast where I was kind of really stressing, going to the source, for problem resolve or attempt to solve, like in there. And I'm a little more upset at that because I thought things could have been handled better. And I mean, now things are fine. You know what I mean? So I don't want to be a dead horse in the ground.
Sure.
But my message as far as future tense is for folks is, really just try to go to this source.
Absolutely. No, I mean, just one of the reasons I'm probably being a little more vocal about this, I get some of the same things for probably reasons you can understand. But I've said the same things to people too. So when
I just don't get it. It's like, and the thing is, I used to be kind of concerned what I used to say publicly because I didn't want to come across a way, or I didn't want to come across as antagonistic or provocative. But what really changed for me when I came back is a couple things. Besides the enlightenment and looking at myself, what I could do better and that, but the aspect of alignment was, I'm not going to be the doormat in caught in the middle anymore, especially for those who are doing what they do and don't really do any good for the whole community. Their own little niche, fine, but they're, the ones those few that were complaining. And the whole thing with like resolve, like this whole mentality where people think it's okay, where you get in these groups and you talk about people and that, and I mean, we all, and I don't mean, if you're talking about somebody in a group and it's not bad, okay, I'm really talking about where you are really putting down somebody or their platform or their product, what you're doing, and you're in this group mentality, but none of you are going to the person. And I know for a fact that's occurring with me because I've heard about it. And so my message that night was really about those things, like go to the person and stop this like group mentality. Matter of fact, I'm gonna fess up here. I was in this group and we were talking to some of my students and they started talking about this guy and all that. And I freaking had to catch myself. And I'm like, wait a minute, man, you're freaking doing what you abhor. And I deleted the group. I squashed it just because I need to hold myself accountable to this stuff too. And that. And so I'm not, so I don't want to be hypocritical here, but I caught myself in that hypocritical moment. I'm like, whoa, what are you doing here? You're doing what you dislike so much. And so I just wish, hopefully if folks can get just that message, and it really worked out well with a couple of people I've spoken to already. So if folks get something out of that, great.
It actually sounds like you're talking about me in many ways. Go to the source. See, that I can relate to that so much, and I know Ty has run some interference for me because people said, was Tim talking about me? And Ty was the PC going, well, you would know if Tim was talking about you or someone you cared about. I go, listen, if Tim was going to say something, I would call out their damn name. I've done it so many times on this show. I don't know why they would think I would go with innuendos.
Yeah,
okay. Let me do.
You're catching up.
Here. Let me get caught up. We can discuss the further on episode 444. Matt Jones. This is the Ultra States. Okay, it was in the Ultra States. John. Good evening, gentlemen.
Joe. There's a great guy, Joe.
Episode 20. Oh, wait, is that your episode?
I don't know. I just know it's the best.
That's okay. All right. And then where did the bottles go? Listen, hold on. They're still there.
Where did the bottles go? There's okay.
A couple.
We're remodeling the studio. I'm going to take Dean out for a minute and Ty out for a moment. See, we're working on the new studio. The guys can hear me, but I'm working on the new studio. So, and yes, I do have a gas pump because you never know when I'm going to run out of gas. So, It's high octane, baby. That's when they did lead. But
110.
yeah, there you go. Craig Mason, how you doing, gentlemen? He's not talking to any three of us, obviously.
No, he's
He'll
talking
be down in
about
Buffalo this weekend. That'll be good. So, well, okay. So I'm down with your message because at the end of the day, you know, if there's a problem, see, and listen, and I get it. I have no problem. Okay, like I said, I'm in a group right now that there's a lot of time that we vent, and if that's what it's about, to get it off our chest so we don't say things publicly, that's okay. Then it's therapeutical. But here's the problem. So let me see if I got this right. Were these okay? I'm not going to fault these guys for talking shit amongst themselves, but were they getting the information out to the public?
I don't know to the extent of that. I don't want to play a guessing game. I know it was starting to get some traction. I made a concerted effort when I was away. I am not going to deal with this. I'm not going to deal with this. And so I chose, for the most part, I chose that. But I think, there were other people getting involved. I can't honestly say to the extent, and I don't want to play a guessing game in that. I could definitely say though, things are better. There's one person I'm going to reach out who kind of made a post when I was off Facebook. And I guess I was included in that, even though he didn't name me. And I think I'm just going to just send him a friendly message. Hey, if there's something you have an issue with me, I'm all ears. Please let me know. Because I'm just going to keep doing this practice. I don't care. It's like, if I think you have an issue or I'm hearing you have an issue, I'm just going to reach out to you. If you can't do it, I'm just going to do it. Like,
well,
just
listen, and don't let that consume you, because Ty has seen, I've carbon copied him in communications when I'm dealing with other people on controversial statements and stuff like that, trying to clear the air. And it got Ty upset because of the venom that was going on when all I was trying to do was ask a question and fix a problem. So, and
I'm a firm believer that context and intent matters, both of those.
And I've tried and I hear these things. Oh, Tim did this, Tim did that, Tim did something. What did Tim do? And they'll tell Ty this all the time. Tim did all these things, but no one will tell you what it is. And then they'll say, oh, well, I can tell you, but I don't want to talk yet. Well, that's bullshit. They just mention it so you'd ask them about it, because if they didn't want to talk about it, okay, listen, it's no secret that Bram, Frank, and I don't get along. Okay. We've been in multiple events together and we've been very cordial. And his students have come up to me and we've talked this, that, and the other thing. And I had other thing. Brian Zawolinsky, another person. We were at a defense lab thing, and the guys they're all in black and green, and we've got our Red Bulls. They come up, hey, where are you going? Blah, 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 blah. Oh, you do monitors? Oh, I studied for Brian Zawolinsky. You know what I said about Brian? I know Brian. We were classmates underneath Remy together. That's it.
Yeah,
I don't drag that shit in there.
No.
And so I try to clear the air. But some people don't give a shit. They're just gonna believe whatever they want. And I'm seeing it right now, still more. And listen, Dean, you shouldn't sweat it, because if you sit there and they say, well, I'm going to try to talk about it, I go, you throw a letter out their way, you throw one over the bow, trying to, hey, listen, is there something that we need to talk about? And if they say no, then it's over and done with.
Yeah, they say no. But here's the thing too, each person's DNA is different. And I've always been somebody that always believes in try to make an attempt to resolve, if you can, outside of somebody, murder, rape, armed robbery, personal property destruction, doing something to your family, assault and battery. In other words, anything that kind of, and excessive money, but anything outside of that, to me, like, things should be able to be repairable outside of those examples I gave, and so, but I'm not saying everybody should have, everybody should feel how I feel about that. I'm just saying what works for me and how I try to go about and do. So if I know somebody's upset with me, they don't go to me, I find it very just I can't wrap my head around it because, okay, you have an issue with me, but you're not going to me, but you're going over there, you're going over there, and you're going over there. Like, I really have a tough time with that when you could just go to me and there, you know.
Don't let it obsess you, because I've done the same kind of thing, and some people just either they listen. And I'm going to tell you this right here's my this is my vibe, my opinion, and I don't care if people think I'm wrong, because I'm not going to live in a world where I can't express myself. You know, if people don't like what I say, turn. Oh, and that okay. I go. Oh yeah. Okay. So there's another thing I was going to say. We went a side direction. I go. But at the end of the day, people, you know, actually, I lost it because the other thing, someone's other comment brought this up. First of all, back into the show. I lost both tracks of thoughts. God damn it. I had two really good things to say, but oh no. You know, so like when people don't like the show, I was talking to Renee Tungsten. He goes, Tim, I watched your show. I don't agree with everything you say. Okay. But it's your show. And if I don't like it, I can turn it off.
That's true. I mean, right. You know, nobody's compelling you to watch it and all that. And you know, and that's, I mean, again, there's multiple aspects to this that came out of this. And again, I'm actually really glad you know, sometimes there's good that comes out of the bad. And the good that came out of this was, not only did I get time off, but it really got to kind of find myself. And I know that might sound vague for face value, but what I mean by that is I really got to, because in other words, these past 3 years, man, just grinding it out, grinding, and kind of missing things around me, you know, easily. And so that month gave extreme a lot of clarity in so many ways where it was, and this is why I'm not mad. That's why I came back because there were just so many benefits that came out of it. And so I'm not mad. I'm not disgruntled. I don't have anything against anybody of these people. I just wish they would come to me. And matter of fact, on the show, in closing, when I went live, I was telling folks, look, if any of you folks do, I would implore of you to come to me. And I was really hoping somebody would, but up to this point, nobody has regarding, you know, that episode or anything else, you know, for that matter. But I guess there's still time. But, you know, the other thing I want to stress too is, you know, even if you do go to that person and you don't get the resolve you wanted, or, you know, they're kind of just not really accepting, you know, what you would like to say to them, or meeting you halfway, or whatever the situation may be, but at least you can look in the mirror and you said you tried.
Yep.
If anything else, you know.
Listen, and both people should be able to do that. Yep, absolutely.
Yeah.
Here's what you got to think about. First of all, if someone says something, they own that moment. If I say something that ticks somebody off, that's me. That's all on me. If you stew on it for years, all the rest of that time, I only own a fraction. You own the rest of that. So if people are upset at you, they don't try to clear things up, that's all on them. Secondly, some people just want a reason to hate you. And I'm not saying you, I'm talking people in general. I go, what? Okay, I really don't want to turn this in about me, because it's not about me. I mean, it is my show, but I mean, I go, what do you think one of the reasons why a lot of people don't like me in Modern Ernie's? Well, actually, no. Let me flip this around. Dean, you've seen me at how many events that I get along with everybody in the room?
Correct.
But in Modern Ernie's, that doesn't happen. Now, we've seen that in all arts, karate, taekwondo, whatever. That's going to be when when people sit there, well, you know, there's politics in Modern Ernie's. There's politics in every system out there. But if if I am the Antichrist, how come I am welcome all these places? So why do you think a reason why people might have a problem with me?
I think a lot of it is like, because I've thought of, it's funny you bring this up because, it's one of the things I was thinking about during that month off is like, okay, well, how are some of these people perceiving me? And I'm going to get to you. I'm not selling your question here. And in some of the conclusions I came to were misunderstandings, not really knowing me, and I hate to say this, some people they're just jealous. They're just jealous. I hate to say that, like I wanted to say to myself, because I don't think anybody should be jealous of me or anybody but okay, maybe they don't understand me, maybe that, but I hate to say it. Some people, they're just like Paulo. There are people that are extremely jealous of Paulo.
And that could be done. I don't want to say jealousy is a bad. Okay, so there was a guy. I don't hear much from Jerome Teague. Jerome Teague.
Jerome Teague, I know that name. Okay.
Yeah, he's like in the Tennessees or whatever. He ended up he ended up teaching in Greece, and I saw Jerome and I'm like, Jerome's teaching in Greece. Man, I wish that was me. Good for him. But I was jealous because I've never taught in Greece, and I would love to teach. I want to go to Greece. Working on that, hopefully. But the thing here is, and you know what? Look at Dean. I mean, not Dean. Look at Paulo. Paulo's doing seminars, getting things, and he hasn't done the same type of work I've done. It's different.
I mean, right. There could be an argument for anybody in our community that
but I'm not going to fault him because he did the social media work needed to get out there. I've seen people who are Marshall. I'm not saying him, but there's people that are friends of mine. We're talking and they're going, this guy, that guy, I don't. What's their big thing? I go, the big thing is they got off their butts and did it.
Right.
And it's easier for someone to come up with an excuse or tear someone down than build themselves up. If okay, people are jealous of you, Dean. Okay. I had this idea a long time ago. The technology wasn't there, and the work to do a YouTube channel like this, they have to record things and then edit it and upload. Ty and I do well, we haven't done videos recently, but pre-recorded videos are a pain in the ass. With this technology, I'm like, and then I watched yours. I started talking to you. I started talking to Paulo, and then they told me about StreamYard. I'm like, dude, I want to do this for Modern East. This is good. And it's just revisiting an old thing. And even if it was let's say it was a carbon copy, you know what? Right. I got off my ass and did something versus other people going, I want what Dean has. He's an asshole. I'm going to tear him down, as opposed to doing the work, but because I can't or don't want to do it. And then they're going to have a bad feeling towards you because you did do the work, you got it done, and you wanted to do it. And I'm like, and that's really what this boils down to.
I think, I think that unfortunately is part of it. Yeah. Not that I hold myself an AI pedestal or anything special. I came up with an idea. There was a void in the community. Nobody was coming to FMA. I just chose to step into that place and do it. Anybody could have done it. You know what I mean?
Okay, let's get caught up here. So George from across the pond. Love the pictures in the back. Oh, yeah. Yep. Because he's from England. Or no, George, you're from Jersey, aren't you? And Brian says hello, Kanata.
Brian.
Hey guys. Bill Anderson. Kaka stirs will always be there, stirring the crap pot. Okay, here we go. I am only one interested in Ty doing a sem. Am I the only one? So that's it. I don't know.
You got to get people on this stumps thing.
So you've heard it first here. FMA Talk, which will get 30% of the residuals, will be sponsoring a tour. Thump-O-Matic
with Ty doing his
Ty botting, PG Thumper, and what is I called weak sauce. Okay, there we go. And then Bill Anderson, held back in the early days, Yahoo groups. Tim and I had a few heated discussions. No, actually, I don't think it was Yahoo group. No, it was when I had FMA Talk, the discussion board. And that was back then. Yeah. And that was because that was like, so here's a guy. We busted each other's chops, whippy ding dong. We're talking and friendly. It's all good. And that's because we didn't know etiquette and that, because you know what? We matured. We freaking matured. Some people are cowards. Yep. Brian says, you found your center again, Dean. Very good. Bill Anderson. To Dean, you can't please everyone. Just keep doing what you're doing. Yep. And let's, before we go on any more on this, I would never think myself, well, you got to be true to yourself on this. Okay. If you think you're doing the right thing, screw all the ass clowns that get upset that have their own, I mean, at the end of the day, who are these guys? What are they doing? What have they done? Do they know your intent? And because of one silly little question, and the rest of the interview was good, right?
Now,
I will say
for the comments and the feedback, yeah.
I'm going to say one thing about Mark Wiley. This could be negative. This is an observation others have made. I'm dyslexic, so I don't do much reading of his books. I have them. I have read very little, but I've always been told that he gets a lot of information, but he doesn't vet his sources properly. That's the worst I've ever heard. I've never heard that he wrote it in his.
I haven't heard that one yet.
Well, specifically, it was because of the Blintwalk thing, because Munung Ted, who used to teach for Anshan, looked at the book and like, who the hell are these guys? I've never heard of them. And here's a guy that was supposed to inherit the system from Anshan. And I don't think Ted was in the book, which, of course, it'd be like, not having Bobby in the book or someone, or not have Anshan in the book about Blintwalk. So there are politics wherever there are people. Yes, there are. If you can look at yourself in the mirror, there we go. Sleep good at night. You're going to have your own beliefs, morals. Yeah. Who can play? Yep. Grodine, these are high estrogen males.
I got to find who.
Did I read that right? Estrogen males?
You did. I'm just trying to find who.
Jealous and wine. Okay.
Is that?
Remember, I am just reading what's on the screen.
Yeah, I'm trying to find out where that came from.
FMA thumps. That'll be a new hashtag.
There you go.
And then Joseph Doris, question for Dean. What is it that you were trying to do? Develop, understand, expand knowledge, and share information? If so, great stuff. Why let the negative ruin it for all those benefiting from your efforts? And this is what we've been talking about the whole time.
Yeah, to answer the question. Yeah.
I am nice to everyone. Like that.
That he likes.
And then Bill, if people who are wine still complaining, ask them if they cheese with their wine.
But the world's smallest violin.
Doris got it. Mr. Doris got it right there. Listen. What was your intent? Okay. And with all the things, you and I have talked about this off the air. Look at that. Agreed, Joe. Look at that. Mr. Owen says agreed, so we know it's a good one. So listen, we've talked about this a whole bunch of times. Okay. It is unrealistic for anyone to expect you to know who's whom, all the stuff in the zoo, and all the little different things. You've given a lens for people to make or break themselves, and a bunch have done that. Okay. And then because someone didn't like the answer, the answer was in your opinion, right? I mean, okay, maybe not have said that word, but really.
Well, I think I worded it like, something to the effect of, who do you think living today?
Who do you think?
I mean, it was definitely meant his opinion. Yeah, I mean, yeah.
So who do you think? Okay, so at the end of the day, and I'm going to say there, listen, Mark Wiley is not gospel. His word is not gospel. None of our word is gospel, except when it comes to me and modern Ernest. But besides that, and PG time. So, but the thing here is, it was just a goddamn opinion, and if they don't like it, so because you could ask someone else the same question, and they may come up with a whole. Okay, so let me see. Okay, so you asked me the question, the same thing. Who do I think? I go, Dean, I don't know because I never seen Tateng. But I will say this: the person that I think living today the most knowledgeable, in my opinion, as limited is the person, or actually the person that I would go to for KI would be Arnold Narzo, because my only connection on a regular basis was Tony Diego's group.
Correct.
And when and every time we went, and we've been going I've been going since 2007. Ty, you've been going since 2011?
Something like that. Yeah.
Okay.
Or maybe the next one after that. Yeah.
Every time we went, who was
Yeah,
always
that
there?
makes sense.
Arnold Narzo.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not even, and I'll be sacrilegious here when I say, I don't know enough about KI to know who's whom in the zoo.
Right.
Who is the most accurate? Tony Diego could be the next coming, or he could be completely on the other end of the spectrum. Don't know. I just gave it based on my opinion. The only person I've ever seen do KI or leader was Tony Diego, a first gen underneath Tateng Illustrissimo.
Correct.
He's the only first gen guy I know or knew. So I can only base this on my experience.
Yeah, which is absolutely fair. Yeah, and again, looking back, I think it just stirred a lot of emotions for those who were close to some of the deceased, but I think they also missed a point that I said, living today. So I think a lot of it came from, I don't think they were acting in malice. I think a lot of it came from just really being convicted and devoted, not only to the art, but to these great legends who have passed. And I kind of saw that. And plus knowing them is kind of what led me to say, like, hey, you know what? It's not, I'll remove the parts. But again, I certainly want to exercise that option. If these were folks that I never knew or heard that just jumped on the show one night and just started complaining, but it was a personal effect here,
Ty?
Yep. I get it totally, right? That connection makes it different. And like you said, some people's feelings about things are that's going to be their initial reaction. They're going to feel what they feel, and it didn't mean they didn't feel it. Didn't mean anything other than they felt it. And then the question becomes, what do you do about it? And what it mean? And hey, are you going to do those other steps? They may have responded before they did that, right? There's a lot of things that could have happened.
Yeah, I mean, there's certainly a lot of exchanges, and there were frustrations, but again, I'm happy. I mean, as far as I know, things have settled and all that, unless there's something I'm not aware of that's going on behind the scenes. But speaking in present day, it sounds like things have settled down and are fine and better as far as status quo. So, obviously I can live with that and fine with that. And we'll see where it goes from here. But yeah, but again, to piggyback off what I mentioned before, I think I needed, I hate to say this, but it's like, I think I needed something like this to happen for me to take the exit. In other words, like when I was off for that month, I'm thinking like, okay, would I have like ever stopped or taken a break? Or when would I, because I always said to myself, I will stop doing the show when nobody's interested anymore, or just becomes just so toxic, and so I think it had to take something like this to kind of force me to pull the plug for a while. So again, there's absolutely some really good quality stuff that came out of this break,
Okay. So let me get caught up here. A few more things. So Tim is a nice guy to everybody. Cough, cough, gag, ha 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 ha. Okay. All right. And actually, with this, Dean's too nice to talk about this. You know, I mean, he's too nice of a guy. Or I'm just calling it the way it is. You know.
Yeah, that's been said too. I have to, and that's the other reason why I did my thing. You know, to basically, hey guys, I am no longer to be the doormat or caught in the middle. Like I had to say, like, and I think the community, I think based on the feedback I got, they were saying like, hey, you know, I think that was good you said that. I think the community needs to hear that from you.
Well, and I think now they'll probably go, you know, for those who have, if there's a perception of you being wishy-washy, you made a stand now.
Yeah.
And you've never made a stand. I'm not saying there was even a need for you to make a stand. You haven't been in this situation before where it came to this level of frustration. And finally you said, screw this. And you went away. And the thing is, you know what? It's not about KI. Because KI is not the only people who've pissed you off like this, right?
No, and that's the thing I want to stress. Like when I mentioned in the beginning, it's like, okay, granted, you know, this was kind of what broke the camel's back. However, though, this was, you know, this has been years of things kind of building and me being caught in the middle, and then the passive aggressiveness coming from others when they see you talk to others or you're having others on the show and you see the difference in the way they're treating you. I mean, here's you know, I've always told my students, social media will tell you everything. You don't need to be a psychologist. Social media, you'll see the fluctuations of behavior. If you see people not liking your post anymore, I mean, it's so freaking obvious. You know, it's just so obvious. And, you know, and a lot of that comes from, I hate to say it, folks, right here in Connecticut, sadly. And if they don't think I'm aware of it or know about it, yeah, you know, guess again. But it's just sad. It's like that they can't just separate what I do as a whole and not get bothered or offended and then turn into passive aggressiveness towards me. And that's been happening now for over 36 months. It's just
if you give someone a lens, you've got to be equal and give everyone else that same opportunity, provided, you know, like,
You've been amazing about that, actually. You've been amazing about that. You've been really fair and open across.
But it's not to say, though, I haven't been eating it for 3 years and not been bothered by it.
Well,
I've been kept
here's one
drama.
My guy, I mean, Ty's been part of the conversation. I'm not saying Ty said this, but we've had a dialogue amongst our group. And at one time, I was like, why is Dean having everyone on but Tim for Modern Anise? Specifically, the most active guy in the States. And that's just because we just weren't talking.
I knew of you, but we never had dialogue. It's not like, oh, I'm never bringing him on.
No. I saw your stuff, and I asked you about if you had a podcast format, because I wanted to listen to it while I was in the car, you know. And then you asked me on the show, and now look how often. I mean, now you're my other co-host.
Yeah, so, I mean,
but the thing is, you give everyone an opportunity.
Ty's accepting this too. You know,
yeah, he's getting over. He's just like, okay, that's okay, because Ty's going to take over FMA discussion. So with all this type of bitching,
Ty, it's all yours
and whining. The FMA going on since I started back in the 70s, even more with the system that Tim and I share lineage with. So then Matt Jones, and then here Bill, KI instructors. Okay, one of the KI instructors I know is in the Philippines, has his own group for over 35 years, and was with Baha Zubu, left the Baha Zubu group, and now is focusing on the KI system. I know him from the time he and a couple of his affiliate instructors with him in Angels. Boom. He focuses on KI primarily, and then we got Joe Rebello. I didn't see at the gathering, Joe. Obviously, you didn't get that ticket. Hopefully,
I did. I sent you a message, Joe. Joe, check your messenger on Facebook. Last April, after the event, I sent you a message.
Okay. Dean, have a few drinks before you interview someone. No, because then that'll be the Paulo Rubio show. Well, no, wait. You don't smoke marijuana, do you?
No.
Then you don't have to worry about it being the Paulo Rubio show. All right. To Dean, the naysayers haven't walked in your shoes during your training. Also, are happy that you're doing that. What you do, keep doing it. Oh, and there's something I want to talk about KI in general. Hey, Dean, try not to be hypersensitive. Okay,
but you know, let's go back what Matt was saying there, because you know he brought up a good. I want to, and I tell you, and this is again, not to beat that horse on the ground, but that month off. I think there was an aspect of me kind of overthinking things and maybe being a little more sensitive and empathetic than I need to be. But here's the thing, though, you are who you are. And when you try to, I am an empathetic person and I try to listen to others and try to see if there's something I'm not seeing and try to take into account their feelings on that. But Matt could have a point.
Well, I still think that you're, being a little tired. You're probably, if there's a nerve is raw or if it's already been rubbed a billion times, is that hypersensitivity or is that just overstimulation?
That's a good point. And right. And just 3 years just being caught in the middle and this and that. Yeah. I guess, maybe a little, both.
Could be both. Yeah.
Okay. So you and I have talked about this a whole bunch of times. And we've also talked about at the events. I even said this to your wife. Thank you for letting us have Dean. Because you're taking. Here's what people keep forgetting. I've had this on the internet wars that were on the internet. Martial talk wars back in the day. Did a camp and people were bitching about something. They go, "Well, camp's over. You can talk." And Janice actually chimed in on it and go, he's going to spend some time with me. He's been doing a camp all weekend. They're like, fair enough. And then it ended with that because she just dropped the hammer. No one messes with Janice. But the fact of the matter here is, one, you're donating your time. You're not getting paid. And the minuscule money that comes up, because the other thing people were making accusations that you're stealing money, which is bullshit.
Not stealing money. The was that the money that the channel made, I wasn't giving to charity. Matter of fact, I'm not going to say
that would be stealing. I
was keeping it for myself.
Right. Yeah. So you're frauding,
which is disgusting.
So and it's like, hey, those in glass houses. Usually, those who are the ones saying that are the ones that would have done it themselves if they hadn't already done it. And did it start happening after 3:55?
It did. Matter of fact, they were saying that guys were so angry that they would never be able to emulate an interview like that as a guest. That's when things started to fall apart. Yeah.
Okay. So, and the other thing is like multiple systems have this. So people, you had a bunch of modernist people on the show, and in my opinion, actually, I know a lot of facts were skewed, some were wrong, and people were being misrepresentative. Okay. I'll say some people were probably just bull-faced liars. I never took that out on you. I never said a word about it. I just had an opportunity to present the facts when you gave it to me. I think, and we talked about how his show was good. So we talked about the very first modern earnings. You had Chad Bailey on with Brian Zwolinski, and they talked about the first camp. And Brian had some of the facts right, not all of them. So the first camp was done in 1983, the year I graduated high school. It was done, I thought it was Virginia, but it was West Virginia or vice versa. It was only done once where Brian thought it was done multiple times. And shortly after that, the very next year, ended up moving up into the Philadelphia area. Another group that was with Remy and split off took the campsite over and kept doing things. This was not the right information that was shared. We did it on our show. We've corrected that, and we've talked about it on your show on at least one occasion. I don't get twisted when the facts are. They go, no, I did my research. Here it is. But it's a good place to have a dialogue. What are we talking about today? Craig Mason is the only black belt modernist that we know of that is a full-fledged dog brother. If that information is not accurate, we would like to know. But as far as we know, that's the deal. We're going to say it that way. And once we know that there's more, which I don't think there are, especially that haven't come from the World Modernist Alliance, then we would say, all right, there's a small group of people who have become black belts and modernists who have also done this. And Craig Mason is the newest of that group. You know, I mean, but it's not about trying to slight anybody, but you just say what you know. Glad that you are back. Can't please everyone. People just need to know you're helping all of FMA. Look at the bigger picture. Go figure.
Yeah, the bigger picture. Yeah.
Rich Parsons says hello to all three of us.
Rich,
Having been there,
host.
been a host literally for decades, I can relate to well. You are a wonderful host. So much good FMA community specialty and the martial arts general. Like I said, you've given a lot of people opportunities to make or break themselves. Boom. Hello, people. Why is Dean trying to fix someone else's problem? Good point. What is KI? Kali Illustrissimo, that's what it is, which was Arnis Illustrissimo at one time, if I'm not mistaken. To argue with Tim, no, you don't have to give everyone an opportunity on their program. There we go. Did I say no, we don't have to? I don't know if I said that you have to give everybody. You choose. The show is whoever Dean chooses.
You give people opportunity to be on there. I don't think you said everybody.
Yeah. You don't have to give everyone an opportunity. Okay. The Dean shows is mentioned and tried to contact. Again, my apologies for not seeing the message. We would have a great time. Okay.
Yeah, please check the message. I sent it. It was when we were up there, April. Yeah.
Okay. Speaking of which, Joe, are you going to be in Salem in October? The three of us will be there, right? You get your hotel yet, Dean?
I did. $190.
We're rooming together, evidently.
Right.
More hostage tape.
I got my earplugs.
Okay. Hey guys, you're the only legal way to launder money is to put it in the washing machine and to dry. Well, it's only illegal if you get caught, but that's another story. But Dean can talk about. Well, Dean can't talk about that. He's in WITSAT. Okay, so I had a person who simply stated, "I will never have on my show." He had the utter gall to ask me why he wasn't on my show yet. Complete, utter egotistical idiot out there. Okay. Yep. And not accurate. Okay. Not accurate. He must be talking about
after. Renee says it's not accurate. It's not accurate.
Okay. So it was more than one system. KI was just the straw. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. I mean, right. By no means do I want people, when they're done watching this, to think that, KI was the problem. It is a problem. No. It just happened to be an interview where a part of the interview, KI was brought up, which caused some controversy. Due to that controversy, it caused me to go. But it wasn't KI, that caused me to go. Overall, I mean, again, accumulation of 36 to 40 months of just dealing with stuff. Yeah.
All right, sorry, raw nerve moment here. I can relate to all that too well. To Tim, gathering I couldn't make. Well, obviously because you weren't there. And it actually worked out well because I told him he could room with me. They gave me a queen size bed, a single queen size bed, so that wouldn't have went too well because I'm a ladle, not a spoon. I can't spoon. Talents from Brazil. Hello. Our newest black belt in the World Modern Ace Alliance, our first WMA black belt in Brazil. And then Arnis Lumpia. Hello. Okay. So we talked about how multiple communities have been, or not communities, multiple people have, over the last few years have been busting your chops on stuff and getting all upset. What have you done while you were gone?
For the month?
Yeah, you took a time off. So
yeah. Okay, yeah. So, he disappeared again. So when I pulled the plug on the show, it was a few days before me going to Hawaii. So I went to Hawaii to help Burton out with a project he's doing. So that was 8 days. Got back from that. And then that Friday, went to Canada to do a project with Kevin Goat, which got back, which exactly a week ago today. And so during the time when I wasn't either on the plane, I mean, a lot of reflection came in Hawaii because, I mean, it's the weather, beach, and all that. So, yeah. So again, basically half traveling and half hanging out with, the family.
But relaxing and enjoying.
Yeah, absolutely. And matter of fact, it's so funny. There were a couple options I was thinking because I tell you, I wasn't so sure I was going to come back. Matter of fact, one of the things I was thinking about doing was I wasn't going to come back to Facebook. I was basically going to I was going to still do some interviews, but I was going to run them directly through YouTube where I could bypass Facebook. So that was a serious thought. But then, talking to Tim, like, one of the things is with the projects coming up and some other stuff, I kind of I hate to say need, because I certainly don't need Facebook, but the need to be on a decent sized social networking, which happens to be Facebook. But yeah, I was, I tell you, there was the option of I was not going to come back, or again, I was going to come back and just run through YouTube.
Okay, let's get caught up here. I actually have to take care of the four-legged children of mine. Normally, they are barking, and I'm muting myself all night long. But
I was going to say they're pretty quiet tonight.
Shh, shh.
Oh yeah,
I've been going over there and having some, little, okay. Okay.
I think Joe is the next one, I think.
Yeah, Joe right here. Here we go. Why don't you get these here?
Yep, sure. Joe, I had a person who simply. Oh no, not that one.
No, we already got that. Here we go. Was it this one? No.
Nope. The next one from Joe.
There we go. Here we go.
Yeah. So Joe, I'll be in Salem, so let's have a belated birthday party. His is October 3rd. There you go, everyone. Campo Joe's birthday is October 3rd. By the way, Salem is a Friday, Saturday event, no Sunday. I thought there was something in the morning.
No. It is a Saturday, Sunday event.
That's what it is. Okay.
I was gonna say, I hope, because I didn't get anything for Friday.
Well,
yeah, I'm getting there late Friday.
Yeah, hold on. I'm gonna have to
teaching the academy during the day of Friday.
I'm gonna do the QR code here.
Northern Virginia Criminal Justice Academy. We got our sheepdog stuff.
Yeah, I would have gone. I'm
good. But that's a busy week. In fact, I'm taking off that week of work because I have those two things: the 2 weekends of surrounding it, plus the academy. So
if anyone's going up to see us in Salem, along with a few others, it is October 7th. I'm looking at the.
There you go.
I'm looking at the. I pulled up the Square registered thing right now. It is October 7th and 8th, 9:30 on both days. Saturday it goes till 3:30. Sunday it goes till noon.
Excellent.
Sunday we're only to noon. Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so and then Danny Terrell says, Coach Danny. It's weird. I don't see him all over the world again.
Coach Danny.
Okay. Okay, Dean Franco, I wish you the best. I'll reach out so we can chat. Your efforts across the larger community of FMA is a good thing. Joe, gosh, Dean, to hear is so sad to hear. Dear, this is so sad to hear.
You've had a show for a relatively short time.
Yeah, when you're just starting out, Dean, these things are tough sometimes.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I can't see myself. I'm not sure how long he's been doing what he's been doing.
Sam, we're about to sign off. I don't know what you're talking about. And then Brock will be there too. That'll be great.
Hey, Brock.
Okay.
So Brock is coming to our training camp this weekend, and then he'll be up there next weekend. Our camp is 4 days away.
Yep.
Hee. All right. So you did what I told you to do. Spend some time with your family.
I did.
And now, you're dialing down the quantity of shows, right?
Yeah. So, for instance, the last one I did was Renee's, and I think that
455
was
or
last.
whatever the number is.
That was 436 to be exact.
Oh,
This
436. Okay.
yes, it's very important to Renee, the numbers.
It's very important. It's very important to Renee.
I think that was Wednesday or Thursday, either
Mhm.
or, and I'm doing one tomorrow night.
Okay.
So and I'm gonna try to really, as much as humanly possible, try to stick to what I'm doing. I'm also going to be doing more on the I will still do interviews unless with regards to somebody that I've never interviewed before, theme episodes, but I also really want to kind of tap into the where folks come on, 30, 40 minutes. And really what they're doing is they're going to be showing basically their curriculum. So, for instance, let's take an example, PTK. So maybe somebody will come on and they'll show, if you're PTI, the subset of five, that Bill McGrath came up with, or maybe the Sagitas, whatever, just random examples. Or maybe if it was a modern East guy, maybe they would come up and they would show some variations off Tappy Tappy or Solo Sinawali. But the nice thing is going to be is it's not going to be so bio driven because these are folks that have been on before. So they can just basically jump in with a partner, show their stuff, and it could be a way for them to elicit students for those who are watching, and maybe they really enjoy what they're watching and they might get students out of it. And so it's going to be a nice kind of a reinvention, so to speak, of myself, and kind of getting away, because when I look at the folks we interviewed, I mean, yes, they're folks I can bring back because they're doing new things, absolutely, and that always will be relevant. But I think this is going to be a nice new pathway for, like, they're going to kind of be demo based.
Well, the other thing too is I think you need to slow down for another reason, and it's an obvious reason that people forget about. How many shows can you do?
Yeah, I mean, no, and what it was is this all kind of happened again. I hold myself accountable. I mean, there's nobody else to. Is that when COVID kicked in, when everything shut down, we all had this lapse of like nothing to do. You know what I mean? And so I went from one show a week, which I was just doing, to like, hey, maybe because the list started kind of started piling up in that spring of 2020. After 6 months, people were starting to, kind of, pick up on it. And so I figured, hey, I'll start to do 2 a week. And what happens was the momentum started really generating from that. So when COVID kind of went away and things started opening back up, I kind of just stuck with status quo. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I think it needed, again, I was telling Ty when you were gone, one of the great things that came out of this, I'm not sure how I would have stopped myself or how I would have recalibrated myself without an event like just happened. I think I needed that for me to just kind of pull the plug. And now that I pulled the plug, I can kind of come in now and set new terms, like, so to speak.
Well, I think a lot of times, okay, you look at things like jobs and stuff of that nature. Sometimes it's something major that forced you, or the business closed down, or maybe you just lost your shit and they got rid of you. I mean, there's you just that final straw, and it's like, why the hell didn't I do this years ago?
Yeah, I mean, there's an argument that I should have taken this break long before this, and but you know how things are, guys. I mean, you get moving, momentum's going, you're just in this, trucking along, and sometimes it's hard to pull the brake. I mean, or you don't know how to. And I think that's kind of what happened with me. I got such in this groove that I don't know if I knew how to slow down or stop it.
Well, I don't want to say it's an addiction, but it could just be, when you have a habit and you do it all the time,
It was definitely becoming a habit. I mean, and
You know, and it's like, well, why would I stop? Because it's so ingrained. It's
that's
like, all
another
right,
thing too. And that's another thing too. And I hold myself accountable to this. I've always said I don't want to be the dean that's just thoroughly associated with just FMA discussion. Like, no, I'm dean the practitioner, I'm dean the teacher, I'm in all this and all that. And even though I said that and I tried to stick to that, I don't think it worked out well. I think what happened was I kind of got engrossed with this whole thing with the FMA discussion and kind of lost sight of myself in some ways, to be quite honest with you, or my value system and what I'm going to tolerate, not tolerate,
here it
and
is,
priorities.
right there, boom.
It's a crack addiction.
It's our FMA is our crack addiction.
Yeah,
But I mean, listen, someone talked about this right here. Training. Training calls will catch up with you. Next, and keep pulling the plug. Well, here we go. What was it? It would have stopped when your wife pulled the plug. Now,
I don't know who wrote that, but that's a good point.
well, let's talk about it another way. Okay, let's talk about the reverse.
Yeah.
Not you, but guys, they should have got divorces a decade ago, but they just stayed in a relationship forever and a day.
Yeah.
They cohabitate. They don't love their, or they're both in that grind because neither one can afford it.
Which is
And but the thing here is you're in this moving thing you're going here, and oh, was that Tony DeSarno? Oh no, that's from somewhere else. But I had a comment from Tony. Okay, maybe that was something else. Okay. At the end of the day, you stay in a grind. You don't quit your job. You don't get a divorce. You don't leave your girlfriend. You don't get away from your friends because you're just in that habit. And it takes it takes a life-altering moment to reboot and reset yourself.
Yeah, I think so at times. And when you were gone, like I was telling Ty, it's like, that's why it was just there was so much good that came out of this. There really was. Like, folks really need to know, like, I'm much happier. I'm more energized. I'm kind of recalibrated. I'm not I'm not angry. I'm not mad. I don't have any ill will towards anybody. I just wish folks would just handle things better and all that. But I'm not coming back disgruntled or a chip on my shoulder. Hardly. Yeah.
So Joe said he was happy when you started FMA Discussion.
No.
He also said Dean, October 3rd will make 35 years on the air, now on 9 major cable systems in 1 million households.
That's incredible.
And Mr. Terrell, you were helping a lot of individuals, and it became much larger than expected.
And he's bringing up Coach Dan's bringing up an excellent point. While it might not have seemed I was overwhelmed, there were times, and this goes back to, like, when the list was growing and, trying to facilitate getting everybody on and staying true to that and not trying to disappoint. I mean, I definitely lost a sense of other facets of my life. I mean, and of course, you realize that when you're removed from something, that a lot of clarity comes into play,
I think that, okay, listen, when COVID hit, wait, here's the problem. You had a lot of people, you said you're going to do stuff, and then COVID let up.
Yeah.
And suddenly you had time to do things, but you didn't because you were stuck doing the show. And then you had people who were supposed to be part of the show and they ended up leaving for this reason or another, or something happened and it caused some other things. And I mean, we went through a whole bunch of things, and we don't have to get into all the details. Some people left on their own. Some people, it was more of a whatever. But nonetheless, when those people aren't there, it increases your workload, because at the end of the day, you're the guy. You own this thing. You run this thing. So you got to do it all yourself. and it probably should have been dialed back over a year ago because once, I mean, look, your viewership has dropped, not because of the quality of the show, because now we're not stuck in the home all the time. Now is the hardest time to do stuff like this.
Good point. Yeah,
Because-
and that fact, you know what it is too? Paolo brought up something interesting. And it's kind of true, and I just never thought about this. And he goes, people were taking you for granted that, he'll be in there. And now I'm like, oh, okay, you'll take me for granted. Well, I'm going to pull it. No, I'm just kidding. After I pull the plug. But the point being is, I think by dialing it back and just dialing down the frequency, now focus will be, I want to make it just more like, where obviously less frequent, but more where develop, I guess, more appreciation and where it's not that taken for granted. And I understand why they take it for granted. 2 shows a week. It's, I mean, I get it, but I cannot go back to that for several reasons. I cannot go back to that. Yeah.
Okay. So, good to see that you get on other shows as well. I know this show reaches tens of people.
That's right. Yes.
Hey, we got 29 people live. 29.
That's
a good
10.
number.
There you go.
Back from the tub. Best therapy for these bones. Would I miss? That must be Rob Guida, I'm thinking.
Could be.
I'm trying to find who that is.
I'm thinking it's Rob Guida.
And you know what?
And
it must be coming from YouTube.
No, it's a Facebooker.
But
I'm on. Okay, so this is on my personal. This is on.
Right. I'm on your personal
FMA Talk Facebook pages because one was a discussion. One was for the website, discussion board. The other was the podcasting, and unfortunately, I can't merge the two. Then there's the World Mountain Alliance Facebook group. Then there's Datu Tim, in addition to my personal. And then there's 2 YouTube channels. I mean, there's a whole bunch of things. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 Facebook
I'm
pages.
seeing it here, like on your FMA Talk a lot. Okay, I'm seeing
sorry, Tim Dobson. That's what it was.
Yeah.
We have no clue, Tim. It just sometimes it likes it, sometimes it doesn't. So, no, I think at the end of the day, it's much harder, and the more shows you go per week, the less people are going to watch. But
yeah, and understandably, like, I get it. So I'm definitely, but again, it's funny. Again, going piggyback into the time off, a lot of this stuff became more clear to me. Like, when I was thinking, because I had a good 5 weeks to just think about things or whatever, or 4 or 5 weeks there. And one of the things I did think about was, coming back not only energized and making sure I really want to do this, but also like making it where it's just not going to be taken for granted. Like, and again, it falls back on me. I mean, I'm the one that chose to do that. Nobody else did.
Okay. So I want to just delve a little back into the KI because this is something that was said, and okay, one of the things that came up was that you were harvesting information for Burton's videos of KI. Now, this is ludicrous because you talked history, you weren't teaching systems, and everything Burton seems to do is everything for the street, which means it's going to be simplified. Now, I don't know about this project because it hasn't been released, but his BJJ approach is street defense or street combatives. His C-lot is for the street. I'm assuming KI is going to be the same thing, but you did interviews. So if we have it, I mean, we've been, I don't know how many times I've been on the show. I have never done material for you. I've never done a demonstration for you. We've never even talked about doing that. Yeah. And it just never came up where other people, that's all they've done. That's, whatever. I'm like, hey, because we had stuff to talk about versus I didn't have anything to talk about. So let me show you how to do, have it in our Sinwali that everyone else does, but at the end of the day, this seems ludicrous. Now you worked on a project with Burton. It's a new video series that's coming out. And what was your part? What did you do?
The Yuki.
So you swung a sword or a stick at Burton, and he lit your ass up.
Pretty much just a Yuki. Yeah, I mean, like I didn't teach anything. It was pretty much, yeah. And
let's go back to the KI, because you've done a whole series on KI.
I did, correct.
How much martial material do you think actually made it on any of your shows on KI?
Oh, very little. As far as the actual, I mean, there were a few demos. I think, Yuli did some.
So like a move or two here and there?
I mean, yeah, I mean, nothing extensive. Yeah.
Okay. So it's not like this is, I can harvest this whole thing and create a system, because Burton does have a KI background. He has experience.
Yeah. And I mean, so the thing is, from what I understand, those rumors were kind of coming out abroad.
Of course they were.
Nothing here from what I understand. I don't know who the people that were thinking that. Those names weren't disclosed to me, which is, I understand. I get it. It's fine. My biggest thing is that my biggest concern was that Brandon Ricketts didn't believe it, which he didn't. And that's all I was really concerned about. I didn't want him thinking that. But going back to just the initial, the thought of it, absolutely disgusting. That for two reasons. One, that folks think I would pillage information from different people I train with regards to KI, and that I would give it to Burton. And two, that Burton, that's something that Burton would even ask or accept that. I mean, it just was like disgusting. And obviously based on no information. It was pure conjecture on these folks' part. They had no evidence, of course. Me and Burton moved completely different. So yeah, it just abomination as far as what these people were trying to say and do. But again, just very thankful that Brandon didn't believe it.
And let me throw something out at you here on this for those who are hear stuff like that. First of all, it wasn't a historical book. It wasn't historical information. You're talking a martial video. But even if you did put something together, that's no different than Mark Wiley interviewing people and putting a book together. But that's not what you did, or a historical document or a historical video. Yeah. This has nothing to do with it. And and these are the kind of things that people were saying, and I get that. I
tell you, what's so interesting? That rumor went beyond the KI community. Like there were other people hearing about this rumor that were not KI affiliated. So somebody was doing a pretty good job spreading it around. Yeah, you know what I mean? And I can't tell you why. All I can tell you is if you watch Burton move and you watch me move, we're completely differently. There's a very distinct Ricketts flair to my movement and my strikes and all that. And that's not to say good, bad, or indifferent to Burton. That's
you're different people.
There you go.
Yep. And listen, as far as this goes, Burton has never put out material that I know of that he's not trained. Now, to what extent of all these topics, I don't know. I don't know, and I don't care because I've known. Oh, you can't do that. Decline that. People are trying to video call me while I'm talking to you guys. So the thing here is this: Burton has done everything he's claimed to. I mean, everything he's teaching is expression. He doesn't teach Muay Thai if he hasn't done Muay Thai. He wouldn't have done Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu if he had. He wouldn't have taught Jeet Kune Do if he hadn't trained. So it just so right off the bat, this whole almost by making an accusation like that, I almost want to say he's illegit. I'm like, listen, you may not like the quantity of training that he's done. Okay, you may not like the lineage, but here's the thing. Like Modernese, we're all Modernese.
Yeah.
All KI is KI. It's different branches off the same tree. Now,
different factions.
Each branch has its different thing. There's going to be a group that's more technical. There's going to be a group that's more fun. I mean, look at PTK, Bikini
Yeah.
Tertius, same thing. You've got Bill McGrath is more like the encyclopedia.
You got
Jared is
Jared,
not combative because, I mean, with all the
the
LEO
Tactic,
training, stuff like that.
Tactical Association.
But now his combatives may be more law enforcement, he's actually more law enforcement based, which maybe not day-to-day stuff and like that, or it's not historical, which, because a lot of times in Filipino martial arts, the stuff we're doing is not relevant because when was the last time you trained another trained fighter? But that's another story. Or when was the last time you pulled out a Zanzibar in the middle of a grocery store to fight over the last container of eggs because it was on sale that day? Okay, that's my rant. Ty's thinking about it. Well, it wasn't a Zanzibar; it was a barong. Damn you,
Alabong.
Dalabong. But whatever. So, what's your future? What do you got going, brother? I mean, we talked about how you're redoing the show. What else are you doing?
Well, yeah. So definitely going to, not do as many episodes, be consistent the once a week and what have you. A couple of different formats, which I'm looking forward to. Particularly, I think Coach Danny is going to be the first one coming on to do, the one that's kind of just demo oriented.
Okay.
And matter of fact, it'll probably be. I'm getting we're already at the 25th. Yeah, so it'll probably be early October as far as he goes. Blade Tech is going really well. And so between teaching that and Piper, helping teaching some KI under Brandon's lineage, Ricketts. And what's nice now with not doing it, I'm actually able to come getting to the gym consistently. Not that I was getting there, but not as consistently or as frequently. So I'm glad about that, and just working on me. Yeah.
Good. And your family.
Great. Roman is coming up.
No, but I mean, working on you and your family.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. And part of that is Roman just wants more and more info. He insists on coming to Salem, so I think he will be there for the weekend.
Okay. So here we go. Blade Tech Goon for life.
That's Eric O'Brien.
And this has got to be Renee. Episode 444. We can talk about Tim and a bit about Ty. Okay.
So what's nice is now Renee is actually identifying what the future episodes and number will be.
It's
but
nice.
In addition, who will be talked about and who will not be talked about.
There we go. All right. There we go.
So he's taking over.
He is taking over.
Somewhat, yes. I mean, well, look at this face. I mean,
that's a face. I don't even think Mom could love that face.
Yeah.
I was just going to ask, how did you print that out on crumpled paper like that?
Yeah.
Love you, Renee.
Yeah, you're something, Renee. we just haven't figured out what that something is yet, but that's okay. Listen, at the end of the day, it's good to have you part of what's going on here. And I'm not talking.
Yeah, and
the greater sense.
While I enjoyed that month off, it was much needed for various reasons. When I came back energized, because I really do miss bringing folks on and their time to shine and share what they're doing in the community and share with others. I really, I generally miss that. And I think I need that month off to really realize how much I miss that. And but I also know, despite me missing it, that there has to be a healthy balance, as far as what I'm doing and compared to what I was doing before. And I think I'm going to be able to achieve that. And I'm looking forward to that. And
well, now you can say no. Now you can say, now you can say, hey, listen, I'm just taking time. And like I said, COVID's over. People have lives.
Yeah.
And if you're going to have to, I don't want to say fight, but we have to compete with other things, other activities, and if you flood the YouTube with all this stuff, if you do 4 episodes a week, how many people are going to watch it these days?
Yeah, I mean, the most I think I did with makeups was like a few times over 3 a week. You know, you take I mean, what I mean by 3 a week, like if I did a weekend, one during the weekend, the following, you know, I kind of mean that way. Like, yeah, it was nuts. I mean, there were some of those weeks, or that I did one on a weekend and somebody else did one the same day. Like, for instance, Tom over there, there were double downloads. Like, I'm never revisiting that. That was just insanity.
Yeah.
No.
And that was when people had nothing better going on, and there was a list you wanted to get through. And you know what?
Yeah.
It's now you can cherry pick the projects you want to do.
Yeah. And yeah, which is nice too, because I mean, again, you know, Blade Tech is growing. So I'm going to need to put attention there. You know, my student base is now growing.
Excellent.
You know, not that I want a lot more, to be honest with you. I don't want to become a full-time teacher, hardly. So I'm kind of really happy with the number I have now. So yeah, things are really, really good now, in a lot of regards, which is nice. And of course, I get to see you guys early October.
Is that really a good thing?
I think so, but yeah. And then what else? I think I got a Georgia trip
Okay.
in November, and looks like Miami last weekend in October.
Nice.
You know, so
Nice. All right. Well, you know, we've gotten a lot of support from you. And listen, okay, here's a question. So we're 2.25 hours in. We still have 27 people watching live. Okay.
27 among your gotcha.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Currently watching at this moment, there's 27 people watching.
Yeah. Well, hey,
30.
ask folks for questions.
So, well, no, what I'm saying, okay, what I'm saying is, you've had a lot of support on the show. No one, has said anything negative about what you've done.
No, I mean, you know, if I can tell you, the people that would or don't dare, I mean, this is what makes some of these people cowards. I hate to say it.
Well, they are.
They know when to show up. They know whose episodes or what people's podcasts to watch and comment on there. You know, I'm gonna say this about this. You know, a few of these folks. Like they said some not so pleasant things about FMA Discussion, and you know, and indirectly me. But one thing I did by mistake, when I took that month off, I obviously put FMA Discussion on pause. What I forgot to do was do the same for FMA Discussion in Europe, and it's fine. It got left. No big deal. But when I came back, the day I came back, matter of fact, one of these people was trying to push their stuff in there. Now, if this had been before I took that break, I probably would have said, you know what, I'm going to be the bigger person here. I'm going to push it in, even though, but you know what? The first time I declined it, and it kind of felt good. So I know that's kind of, maybe it comes across as a little petty, but I had to do it. But the reason why I had to do it is because I need to be more assertive about myself, and I had to do it, and yeah. So
all right, so here we go. Facebook user is, where is this October gig? Well, it is the special FMA collaborative event. If you go to worldmountaineast.com or wmountaineiast.com, I'm looking at the wrong thing. Here we go. Let me push on this there. I keep got to remember I got multiple cursors here. This is taking forever. Okay, here we go. So this is at the Martial Art Research Institute. It is in Salem, Massachusetts on Mason Street. And then we got a whole bunch of people teaching at this event. Look at these guys. We got Ty. We've got this lovely guy, Dean We got Steve. We got Master Ben. Mike and May Williams, our host. Sifu Alex. There we go. Tim Gillette. It'll be the first time I actually meet Tim.
Oh, you never met him before?
No.
Oh,
Evidently,
okay.
he's a little intimidated about coming on the show because of my interview style. Because I kind of
So when you bring him on the show?
he hasn't agreed to come on the show because I'm like,
That's another thing too. You haven't brought everybody on the show for the event. Not that you need to.
you're on the show. Ty's on the show. I'm on the show.
That's true. I'm talking about the other. Now, who are some of the other folks there? I don't know.
A third of the people. We are a third of the crew.
No, I understand that, but there's some folks on there. Like, I gotta be honest with you, I don't think I know.
Okay, so me, Ty. Okay, Master Ben. Okay, he helped Remy. He quasi related to Remy.
Okay.
Remy used to live at his place for a while. Bum, bum, bum. Dean Franco, Tim Gillette, which you know, Steve LaFay, Sifu Alex. Sifu Alex is Mike and May's.
I know him.
Sifu Alex is Mike's teacher.
Nice guy.
He's a
Really
fourth
good.
degree black belt in Modern East in the 80s.
I'm sorry, whose teacher?
He was Mike Williams' teacher.
Oh, okay. All right.
You know, he's been around back in the day. I've seen his face. I just never met him until a couple of years ago.
Okay.
So it's going to be a good time. So right now, let me see here. Dean needed the respite. And then Coach Danny says set boundaries are important for all.
Yeah, for sure.
I need to get to that area.
Our area, yeah.
Yeah. Well, and like if he's having that Louisiana camp, I might swing down for that one because, you know, Facebook user, is it true that in the episode that first aired, the people from the show actually had to post on the time and make them read it 3 times? Well, what? Am I reading that right?
I'm not sure what he's referencing.
Ty, did I get that right?
I can't parse it either. There's something's funny about it.
Okay.
Is it true that when the episode first aired, the people from the show actually had the post on the time and made time read this 3 times?
Not sure.
Can't quite parse it.
I wonder if that's Matt. Okay. So anyways, so obviously the biggest thing that's coming up is we're all going to be at the same spot. It'll be great. You know, so obviously, you know, and okay, and oh, here we go. Boom. I'm looking forward to meeting Dean in person.
Oh, excellent. Yeah, same here, bro.
Yes, make the PTI. I can't. Okay, well, okay. What I meant. Okay. Okay. So, listen, this show is our shows collectively that this show, our shows, have an ability to help a lot of people. Okay. We get to bring people on both of our shows. We've done similar things. Slight twist. We've given people opportunities to tell us about themselves, talk about history, you know, basically do a lot. They're given the opportunity to make or break themselves. And that's not why they're given the opportunity. They're given the opportunity because everyone has this perception of having something to offer. You know, we talk to people and they go, "Hey, listen, you sound like you know what you're doing. Let's get you on the show." And you know, I've had people. Okay, so mine is okay. So the banner today says FMA Talks Martial Chronicles because we're being generic with our FMA. All right. A lot of times we're Modern East. I've given multiple people from different organizations, people who are not member of the World Modern East Alliance, opportunities to talk about stuff. Dean has been doing this on a much broader scale. I kept it inside Modern East, and once in a while we'll bring somebody from outside, like yourself or something like that. But I mean, you know, we've got more of a niche group that we're aiming for because we talk about what we do. Okay. You give people so much more people opportunities to really reach people. And people should not take that for granted. People should look at the big scheme of things. And if they don't like the show, turn the show off. If you don't like something that's said, talk to Dean. Talk
I
to Dean.
certainly don't want people to watch something that, obviously you're never going to be compelled. That's crazy.
No, but I mean, the thing here is,
No.
no one has to watch the damn show. If you don't like what you see, turn it off. But if you have a problem that something that's said on the show, talk to Dean about it, because he might let you on the show and give an opportunity to say your side of things.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I was really kind of hoping after I did, do that, my kind of slash announcement podcast there, I was really generally hoping that somebody would have reached out. I really was. Like, I was really kind of hoping. And then thus far, nobody has. Yeah.
That's on them. That is on them.
Yeah.
We have given. I'm fine in the modern age community. It's the perceived leadership or influencers out there who have problems. I mean, but that happens the same thing. KI leaders don't get along. Bikini tertiary leaders don't get along. Taekwondo leaders don't get along.
Yeah.
It's the norm. But the thing here is, we've given plenty of people opportunities to be on our show. People that don't like what us or don't agree with what we're saying. Time and time again, we've given the opportunities. And what do they say, Ty?
No, basically.
There we go. So you can't.
Yeah, I mean, you've offered them, right? Yeah,
and you do the same thing.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, the Goon Squad stands ready.
Yeah. Oh, that's so that's my student Eric in Florida. Who's very
and here we go. Look, yes, both have helped me get exposure they wouldn't have gotten if not. There you go. Perfect example.
Yep. Yeah,
okay,
definitely.
And then Datu, Tim, PG Ty, and Dean have always had a broad show. Very good. All right.
Yeah.
And then did you watch 436?
That was to go with that other thing we couldn't parse.
Yes. Did you watch 436?
Unfortunately, there's shows that would rather cut others down than attempt to build themselves. And that's it. At the end of the day, it's easier to trash other people than do your own work.
Yeah. I mean, sadly, yeah, I guess so. As much as obviously doesn't make
that's what it boils down to.
Sense or as far as logic, but yeah, I guess.
What about me? Well, do something for you. Don't wait for someone like
Yeah, and yeah, I know. I don't know.
Listen, I think it was good you took the time off. I'm glad. Carol Richard checking in from the show. Closed months, but don't get fed. Okay. Okay. But listen, and Terrell's over in he's in
where's he at?
the Philippines right now.
Yes.
Oh, Bill. Oh, he's over there.
Joe says hello from Austria. Yeah, actually, he just. I don't know. I can't. I know things, but I can't say things until I know things. I gotta see something here.
You have to wait.
Yeah, because I don't want things happen, and I don't want.
I heard things.
I don't want to ruin things for people. But people's thunder. So listen, you did good.
Yeah,
I think you're doing well by taking time off, dialing it back so you have time with your family, because that's the most important thing out there. No one's paying you to do this. And if they don't like it, well, they can always turn it off.
Yeah. I mean, from that point, yeah. I mean, obviously, one of the things, that was not when that came up far as the monetary aspect. I mean, I don't think folks realize that, I put money in my pocket to pay for Be Live. It's not a lot, you know what I mean? And I never griped about it, complained about it. But I only bring that up because when they were saying again that, we didn't donate any money. I mean, it's like, come on now, man. We made posts about it right in the groups where the money was going and stuff like that. All the raffles we had all went to charity, orphanages over there, charities, involving children. Some of the old GMs we gave it to, and this one guy was saying we were lying. It's just, I didn't know what to come back with.
Well, I mean, people can always say that no matter what you did,
yeah, I just like
yeah. Well, yeah, I won't go down there. So Dean Franco even had me on his show once again. Thank you, Dean, for episode 433.
433. See,
here we go. We're all get these different numbers.
I
What's
know
the square root of that? That's what I need to know.
It's going to be a numbers thing. Renee,
it is approaching 11 o'clock. We've been on the show for 2.5 hours.
Has it already been that?
Wow. Yeah, it has. I mean, we yeah, it has.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to keep you guys on.
No. We normally this is how we go. But
my apologies.
We're gonna wrap things up. Any last thing you want to plug?
No, my only last message is that basically what I said before, I went off the air on my solo podcast, which is that, guys, if you got an issue with somebody, take the time to reach out to them. I just did recently with one of my moderators. It worked out wonderfully. I just urge you to do it. Most things can be just repaired or rectified by talking directly to the person. And even if you don't get anywhere or they're just not being receptive, at least you can look in the mirror and that you put your best foot forward and you may at least made an attempt. But I urge you to do it. You'd be really surprised, how well it can go. And I just had a wonderful experience with this just yesterday. And so I just urge people to do that instead of going to groups and talking about people.
Okay.
That's it.
All right. So basically, be an adult. Deal things like adults do.
In short.
Okay. All right, here we go. Last comment. And I can't thank you and Datu and Dean. You put me a chance to put on your
he's
show.
a good guy.
Okay,
Too real.
Yeah, and right there you go, Terrell. He's got the guys are looking forward to seeing me when I come over, so that's cool. All right, listen. Dean, stay on the show or stay in the back. We'll do the debrief in a moment. But thank you for being on the show, Ty.
He's thinking, Ty. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, took him out. There you go. All right. Okay. All right. So, all right, everybody. Interesting show. As you can tell, I just not a fan of people that bust people's chops like this. And this is the way I've always been. I like standing up for people that don't need it. I'm like, listen, I do stuff that's controversial. I say things, and sometimes I know that I'm saying things that are probably going to stir shit up, but I don't step away from controversy. I talk about the truth, even if it is controversial. But Dean's a nice guy, and he really tries to do his best not to offend people. And I wanted to have him on the show because really it gives me I don't need an excuse, but it helps that little extra excuse to stand up and say nice things about it and have him hear what I'm saying too, live, interactive. Ty, what do you got here?
No, not much. As you know, I'm tired right now, but no, I appreciate the discussion. I actually appreciated him, Dean, and you'll hear this too. Laying it all out there, kind of, the good, the bad, and happy to hear that, it's not a lasting negative and come out better on the other side. That's awesome.
So, Terrell, no, I don't know of anything why there's leather pads on the end of the sticks. I've actually had some with aluminum rings on the ends, and Ernesto had stuff with leather on there at the end too. Thank you for unforgettable times.
Nice.
There we go. Thank you. And then Brian, great show, guys. Night, gentlemen. See you all later. Daryl, nice guy and a good person. Definitely. A lot nicer than I am. A lot more forgiving than I am. But then again, I was raised in New York by wolves in New York. And Dan Medina gives us thumbs up. Which hey Dan, I think we're going to see you at Bobby's birthday camp. I think he's going to be there for that.
I hope so.
Thanks for sharing. All right, so I don't want to get it. It's too long. We got a lot of events coming up this weekend in 4 days. We have the World Mountain Race Alliance Instructors Development Camp. Oh, good. He says he's going to be down there. Great.
Awesome.
We'll see you then. We're doing the World Mountain Race Alliance Instructor Development Camp. It's this weekend, Friday through Sunday, although Thursday is the pre-conference workout. Unfortunately, Sunday will be a Buffalo Bills game, so crazy traffic. Fortunately, the crazy traffic will end at 1 when the game starts. So if people are leaving, I would actually if you're going to leave, if you're doing the Sunday session, leave after 1. Just gives you more reason to hang out together. And then the weekend after that, Columbus Day weekend, Ty and I, along with our friend Dean, will be up in Salem, Massachusetts. Then I'm home for a day or 2, and then I'm off to teach in Barbados. We will be doing a show next week. It has Renee Tungsten coming on. Manang Renee will be talking about the FMA Festival, which will be coming up in February. And Columbus Day weekend, we will not do a show because I will be. We're both traveling, and like a day or 2 after that, I'm the day after that I fly to Barbados, so I need to make sure I'm packed and all the other stuff. And then we've got a bunch of good topics which are fluid. We're very organic. We weren't supposed to have this show, but Dean wanted to be on it. Dean and I were talking. He was like ready to go. I'm like, hey, let's do this. So it worked out. I think it was a very good show. So I got nothing else. Oh, when's your fall fling?
The November 11th, Veterans Day.
Yep. Okay, there you go. All right. So next time I'm hoping I'm a little jacked because I've been sleeping in late because I've been staying up way later. So our sleep schedules are opposite right now.
That's right.
And I was also I'm really pissed off that people were messing with Dean, and I just really get very defensive about when people mess with people who shouldn't be messed with. And in addition, he's also a friend of mine. Whether he's a friend or not, I would have stood up for him for all the stuff that he's done. So this really gets me pissed off. So if you think I was a little extra talkative tonight, because I'm mad, and that's how I get when I'm mad. All right, listen, as always, everybody, please, it's a pleasure. Like, subscribe, hit the notification button. Feel free to share this show wherever you are. Do us a favor. We don't ask for a dime, but we're going to ask for one thing. Talk about the show. Let people know about the show. Talk about FMA discussion as well. Talk about all the shows that are of this nature. Get the word out so if people don't know what we're doing, it gets it out there so that more people can get educated or share information, because we love getting the education just as much as we love sharing it. All right. As always, it's a pleasure. Everyone, it's Datu Tim.
PG Tide. Take care, everyone.
Everyone stay safe and stay sane.